Thank you, Adya, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shiva, and I have with me my co-author, Vinita.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
Our presentation topic is Pupil Power, What Kids I Say About Ads. Our paper discusses about our exploration into understanding how children respond to advertisement using a new approach. Doing research with children is always challenging. Let us see how this new approach helped us overcome the challenges. Our experiment wanted to answer two basic questions. One, can we find out exactly when children are engaged in an ad? And two, does this engagement predict real life behavior in purchase? In addressing these questions, the current research methods have two major problems. First problem, asking direct questions and rating scales to kids. So we asked them, do you like this ad or rate this on a 1 to 5 point scale? And the concern in this approach is, one, kids are not as articulate as we expect them to be. And two, the rating scales are difficult for the kids to understand and articulate for them. So most often we observe that straight lining or top boxing happening over there. The second problem is when we collect unstated responses using new age technologies like ECG or EEG, facial coding, eye tracking, and GSR. It creates what we call the orthon effect. When children see all these equipment setups and calibration process, they become very conscious and of being observed. This changes the natural behavior and how they respond to the stimulus. So we need a better way to solve these issues. After doing a lot of research on technologies available, we found something very interesting. They say, eyes are the windows to the soul. This is not just a saying. There is a real science behind it. In 1960s, scientists proved that when people see something interesting and engaging, their eye pupil dilates and becomes bigger. This finding has been tested and validated many times over the years. Even the Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman used this method for his research on cognitive load. Today, this technology is used widely to measure engagement and attention levels in high-performance sports studies, pilot trainings, etc. But surprisingly, it has not been explored much in market research. This methodology is called pupillometry, in which we measure the pupil diameter and how it changes in response to various stimuli. Using the pupillary response, we derive the cognitive load, which is the mental effort being used by the working memory to process any information it consumes. When the cognitive load is high, it means the brain is processing a lot of information actively, and the pupil dilates more during this time. When cognitive load is low, it means the content is either very easy to process or the person is not engaged. During this time, the pupil dilate much less. This gives us a direct window into the engagement levels without asking any questions to the respondent. So now I hand it over to Vinita to take you through how we created the experiment to address our objectives and its key findings. Over to you, Vinita.
Thanks, Shiva. Good afternoon. So let me start with, I have one question. Have any of us thought, what is it that children do when they are watching TV or they're looking at their tabs? They're literally inside it. And our entire study started at this premise when clients kept asking us, what do children really look at? So keeping the theme in mind, what we decided was, let's take, next one please, static responses. And on top of that, we'll look at what is eye tracking. And on top of that, we'll also look at cognitive load. Now, static responses we always think is the perception. And eye tracking is observation. And as we know, cognitive load is engagement. In the intersection, this Venn diagram, inside, how will the insights look at? So I'm also telling, we have not done anything new. We just retrofit an old study or standard study, and we went ahead with it. Next, please. So the first thing, like we said, we had to look for something that's really going to make it easy and simple for children. We located this kid-friendly glasses. And then you can also ask me, of course, you still are using some equipment, but that's all right. After a couple of minutes, we noticed they really don't bother. They just walk around and happily do it. And then the output from this is fed into the software for us, where we get how the cognitive load is working. As simple as that. Next. Next, please. Yeah. So we used a simple two-staged, exercise for this. We took consent from 30 parents to allow them to wear the glasses and conduct this experiment. On day one, all we did was showed them one reel with about 8 advertisements and bunged into a cartoon. And we had a small semi-structured questionnaire end of it. And on day two, we took them to the local grocery store. We ensured it was an SMAT, semi-modern trade, so that where there's self-help, at the same time it doesn't look very intimidating. One of the reasons why we did this is we realized when you go to the bigger modern trade, it's always the parents who accompany. It's only the next door friendly store that they are allowed to go and buy. Next, please. Yeah. And before I show you how the results look like, I just thought I'll just tell you what is the index. It's a very simple thing. A Vienna-based company has worked out the cognitive load index. It just says we have 4 zones. As you see, there's a relaxed, there's an active, there is focus and overload. And how is this calculated? As simple, 1 to 100, percentage of pupil dilation. Reason why I'm constantly saying simple is we've kept this as exploratory base level to see how far this can work at vanilla level. Next, please. Now, you can see what makes this different, okay? We've all done eye tracking. I mean, so when you see the gaze path, you can see how it's moving. What's slightly different is on top, you can see how the cognitive load is moving. Cognitive load is nothing but engagement. Is the kid engaged? That's about it. And we tried keeping the room also as casual as possible. You can see there's some scribbling over there. And the method we used this, we just put the glasses and stepped out of the room. And then none of us were there even in the room. Yep. Next, please. And then next day, it's the same thing. We let them select and we asked them to go. As you see, you know, it's not the best of videos, but the reason why we did that with a purpose was that's how shops look like. And that's about the clarity you get. So can you look on top? What we've noticed is, it's pretty much like any other decision making. 2 seconds prior to picking is where the load is high. And once they make the decision, it just moves on. So, and also, sorry, can you just stay on that? Do we see, can you go back please? Okay.
It's not going.
It's not working?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Is this any different? This looks like any other graph. Only difference here is it's already pre-color coded. So you don't need to really worry too much, or is it falling into the overload zone or the focus zone? It makes it a little reader friendly. That's about it. Next. So net end of all this, what did we find out? We found out only actually 2.5 things. Number 1, we started with the hypothesis that higher cognitive load means higher retention. No. We had an alternate hypothesis saying that when it is in the focused yellow zone, that is from say 0.4 to 0.7, that's how kids watch ads, you know, that expression they have, and those are the most memorable ones. And also we noticed that those kind of brands made it to the basket in the end. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. What was the exercise? We gave them 100 rupees and told them, you buy what you like. And they have to go about whatever they like to buy. So we saw that this has 3 buckets. Bucket 1, they first go pick what they like. It doesn't matter what you showed, what you did. That first 40 rupees goes into that. And next maybe the 30 rupees goes into something that is aspirational. They thought of buying. And the beauty was, the sweet spot is that last 30 rupees. That's when we saw ads in the yellow zone made it to the basket. And what about, how do they like the ads? They like animation, they like larger than life, anything which had peaks in that zone stayed. Now, the second hypothesis which we thought about the stated hypothesis, stated statements when they claim data we have, they say this ad is boring. In normal days, what happens is it goes to the lower end and we say, okay, this is not engaging, it's boring, we throw it out. But in this, we noticed if the ad was in yellow zone, that is focus, despite saying it's boring, it made it to the basket. So that's about it, which we discovered. Over to Siva.
Yeah, thanks, Vinita. Okay, based on these findings, let me share the broader implications of our research. As you see, this methodology offers a new way to test advertisement among kids, addressing the current limitations. Also, it opens up several exciting possibilities for market research among kids, such as pack testing, toy evaluation, or content research in both physical as well as digital formats. But however, we must acknowledge it has its own limitations also. This is a small pilot study with only 30 participants, so our findings are more a proof of concept. And we need a larger studies to confirm these patterns. And then we need to address aspects like the impact of multiple exposure of advertisement on children and differentiating the habitual purchase behavior from the advertisement-led or driven choices. So despite these limitations, we believe this methodology offers a promising new direction for understanding how children truly engage with advertising content. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very interesting paper. We just have two questions. The first one is, you've done this work with kids. Have you tried this in any other sector or with any other cohort? Would it be applicable?
Absolutely. Thanks, Pallavi, for asking. Okay. We've done this with kids, yes. This has worked best for automotive and retail. We've done this with one. So far, whenever there's automotive, either testing or user experience, we only get either eye tracking or stated. It's very important to know how the cognitive load works when they are driving. And of course, like Siva mentioned, sport. It's very popular in Europe for all sports during training. How are they able to manage the pressure? Yeah, so that's the answer.
Okay, great. Couple of more questions have popped up. So, processing of cognitive load is different for neurotypical and neurodivergent people.
Yes.
How do you account for that?
Okay, so, thank you.
No, you got the question. I didn't hear it properly.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Saying the processing of cognitive load would be very difficult, would be very different for neurotypical people
Yes.
and neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
So how do you account for that in this methodology?
So, in this particular study, what we took was standard kids where we took the bell curve and where they're having regular attention span, and we said it's all right. See, if you notice, the sample size we took was 30, and so that helped us look at any of the aberrations. Yeah, that's the answer for that. And also, like we said, for example, cognitive load is just about engagement. This is nothing, I mean, it doesn't even come close to EEG. I want to be honest about it. But it's a nice indicator of studies having come out of lab and into the real life. And that's what makes it different.
Okay, a few more questions. How do we factor in for individual biases in this methodology? And for example, they may be, when they like a product they put in the basket, it could be due to the quality of the ad or the kind of attention. There are a lot of factors. So have you worked on isolating those and just, about this methodology?
Thanks. That's exactly what I was telling in the end, how they make it to the basket. It is the triangulation of all the three. Stated, if you go back, you can see there is limitations of the study. Some people really like it, they are popular. To answer your question, yes, we did factor in that.
See, some of the behavior of purchase was purely behavior habituated. So people bought whatever they are buying. But certain brands were picked up because they saw the ad. So we also checked with them post the purchase what was the reason for them buying this particular brand. Was it habit, or was it attractive in the shop, or was it because of the advertisement? The kids were able to say that some of the brands which they are not even bought before, they bought or picked it after seeing the advertisement. Yeah.
Okay, so the examples you gave us is when some decision making or purchase choices were happening. But have you tested this, or do we know if this works when it's more about attitudes?
Attitude?
Attitudes.
Honestly, attitude, the nearest study I can tell you was we were doing something for a motorcycle company, the popular one, and they wanted to say, how do people navigate in the shop and what are they thinking, what are they looking at? The study was, we didn't have to ask any questions, no moderator, no structured questionnaire. And then we pulled those, analyzed those, and say what they were going through. So answer is yes. Okay. Not so much on attitude, but what's happening.
Attitude is much limited in this one, but
much
one thing what we observed among kids is they make decisions very fast while picking the products. When they are deciding on which product to buy and those things, that's high cognitive load, even in the red zones. And once they decide, it drops into the blue zone. So when they're picking the product, it drops. So we can see that wave-like flow where they're high cognitive load when they're deciding which product to pick, and once they make a decision, where it falls down. And one thing what we wanted to also understand is whether the ads, what they have seen, the brands, did they evoke any sort of cognitive load when they are seeing that in the shop shelf? But we were not able to isolate that sort of effect in the study. That is one of the research which is still in progress for us.
Okay, I'm going to squeeze in one more question and putting some things together.
Sure.
There's a lot of interest about, on the shop floor. So there are questions around, have you used this for merchandising?
Yeah.
How much of a challenge is this to scale up, and about the pester power in shopping situations, and how might we account for that?
I heard a couple of,
So yeah, it's about, you know, when
Over.
in a shopping scenario,
Yeah.
one question is about, can this be used for merchandising?
Yeah, I'll answer that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest opportunities is visual merchandising. Now, visual merchandising is not just about the mannequins or the layout. It's also how it makes them feel. I can see my time's up. Is there anything else?
There was about, you know, there's a lot of accompanied purchase, especially if you talk about kids.
Yeah.
And there's a pester power and there's a influence between people who go to shop, and how might we account for that?
So I'll just answer this in half a line. In this study, no, because we really gave it to the children alone and we asked them to go. But the glasses also have an audio recording. So we do this for motorcycle purchases. So we actually see what is the conversation going on between the parent and the child. And that's how we analyze it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.